Hello, I'm General Waffles of the Breakfast Brigade. Let's talk about Murky. Now, Murky is a little murloc that is a melee specialist. He excels at, controlling lanes, pushing, and creating pressure. He's also fairly good at taking mercenaries. And what people really use him for, especially when the late game comes, is a really good single-target assassin. Now, Murky has the lowest starting HP in the game, at 250, and the lowest ending HP at the game, with 1,390. This is because Murky's passive allows him to place an egg on the map, and then if he dies, he only takes a quarter death, which means the team gets quarter the experience, and you respawn within 5 seconds at your egg, regardless of what level you were when you died. This makes Murky really annoying, and that's what he's really good at. In the early game, all you can really do is be annoying. Anyway, let's just go over his numbers real quick. He's got the 250 health. His Q works by a slime in an area. It does initial damage, and then any follow-up hits do more damage. Level 1, it's going to be doing 62 damage, and then for the second hit on a slime target, 156. His W is a pufferfish that explodes after a short amount of time and can be killed by the enemy. It does 170 damage in the area at level 1. So his total damage burst with his abilities at level 1 is 388 damage. His E puts him in a little bubble and makes him invulnerable. He can still body block while in this invulnerable state, and he still can draw aggro from golems or mercenary camps, but not towers or minions. His regen, which I normally don't talk about, is actually really high. 10 per second at level 1. His attack damage is pitifully low at 18 a hit with an attack speed of 1.25. Now, once you hit level 20, without any talents, you're looking at 1,390 health, 180 damage on your slime for the first hit, and follow-up hits will be doing 450. His W will be hitting for 854 in the area. His regen will be 55.5 health regen per second, which is really high for base regen. Normally that's a warrior type of regen amount with some talents. Yeah, so that's something he's really good at, is if he can get out of combat, he probably will be fine. Plus, if he dies, he comes right back. His attack damage is 132, and his attack speed is still 1.25. Now, his total damage burst is kind of tricky. Normally, I wouldn't include the ult, but for Murky, his ult is a very essential part of his character. I don't really think you can choose the March of the Murlocs right now. It just doesn't do enough. So his ult, with only the talent Living the Dream, without any stacks, is going to be hitting for 945 damage at level 20 with the upgrade to his ultimate and a Shark 2. So making his total damage burst without any talents except for Living the Dream, without stacks, 2,429 damage. Now, if you were to include all of the damage talents, the pufferfish getting increased slime damage, and the Living the Dream, then you're going to be looking, and the pufferfish casting slime at the target location, you're going to be looking at a burst damage of 3,160 damage at level 20 with full stacks of Living the Dream. That's actually a crazy amount of damage. And this is what makes Murky actually viable in the late game. Because normally you want to push down towers really effectively with him in the early game, in the mid game, and late game you want to be assassinating squishy targets. Murky is a really, really good anti-assassin, especially melee assassins, because in the early game, in lane, you can just keep harassing them, and if you die, it doesn't count for nearly as much, and you're right back in it, and you're not missing XP. Yeah, he can really aid in ganks early on. If someone comes in for a lot of damage, his slime can slow them, and he can keep them slowed. He can push the minions back extremely well with his pufferfish and slime, making it so your turrets, you should be draining their turrets of ammo, and your turret should be fine. Murky, even though he's fun, he's also can just be a major detriment to your team if your team can't stand on their own. While he does have a lot of good qualities, a lot of times you're going to be just missing a teammate, and so the early game could really be something like a 4v5. You're not going to contribute much early on aside from pushing and aiding in some ganks maybe, but for the most part you're just going to be a missing link. If you put someone in lane that can deal with Murky, then Murky just doesn't do anything. He's also fairly easy to shut out, especially with the newest edition. Now his Octo-Grab, I feel, is really part of his character now, from where he's come from. Anyone who's played before knows that Murky was just stupid before. You would throw down your entire game plan was to throw down a pufferfish, put down your egg, die, and that would drop another pufferfish, and then you'd go back, throw another pufferfish, and have the towers shoot you to death, and you keep doing this until the towers are destroyed. Now he's a little bit more team-oriented, especially with that Octo-Grab ultimate. I mean, it's a 3-second stun. It has about half the range of a normal ranged assassin. So it has a lot more than just melee range. And with your bubble, it's really, really hard to actually mitigate or deal with, and usually you can get to whoever you're trying to get to. So in team fight, it's really good for stopping a healer, or it's stopping an assassin, locking someone out and killing them. You can stop channels with it. It's really multifaceted ability. And I also think it's still the most unfair ability in the game. Now this doesn't mean it's overpowered. And it's kind of all Murky has, so if you took it away from him, he wouldn't really have much. But what I mean is that there's so little interaction between when you Octo-Grab someone and them getting Octo-Grabbed. It's a targeted ability, and you can't miss it. You can't really stop Murky from coming up to you. And once you get Octo-Grab, you need Cleanse to take it off of you, because if you try to knock Murky off of you, it'll actually just keep the Octo-Grab, and Murky can then do it as he pleases. And I think that low amount of interaction is really why it's just a really unfair ability, but not all abilities in the game have to be fair. That being said, now that there's been a change where a lot of the supports actually have Cleanse now, it's a lot easier to pick against and it's a lot easier to deal with. And if you're in Hero League and you have to pick against Murky, you want to pick someone that has Cleanse and can use it, and that can save your teammate's life and completely destroy his combo. His combo being, if possible, you want to run up, hit them with the slime, throw the pufferfish, Octo-Grab them a second after you throw the pufferfish, and then after the pufferfish explodes, you hit slime. Now, ideally, you want to wait the second because that gives them absolutely no time to blink out of the way. And if they do blink, you're not wasting your ultimate. Because at level 1 it does 1 damage. Or at level 10 it does 1 damage a hit, so 3 damage. You know, later on it becomes much better. Murky does have a lot of synergies. There's very few people that don't work with him. But there's a lot of people that just kind of don't work well with him. Some of the people that do work well with him, however, are Abathur. Abathur is amazing because you go into your bubble and you're constantly in the enemy's face, and Abathur can do consistent damage, and it's really hard to deal with because if you kill Murky, then he just respawns in 5 seconds, and it's not that big of a deal, and it becomes a real threat you have to deal with. Anyone with burst damage, like Nova, Jaina, or Kel'Thas, is incredibly useful because once you hit someone with an Octo-Grab, they can burst them really fast and you don't need to rely on your combo. Tyranida's also really good because she improves the damage of your combo. Your combo's all burst damage. You want to do as much as you can. Nazeebo works fairly well with Murky simply on the basis that when you Octo-Grab them, he can put up a zombie wall around them easily and get a lot of extra damage out and lock you in there with them. It's okay. It's not, like, amazing. Asmodee works okay. You kind of have to play differently if you have a team like that, or if you tried to construct a team like that. That's really split push oriented. And Asmodee's really good because he's creating pressure on the map somewhere, and people can ignore you or go after you, and you're splitting the pressure. It's more of a push comp kind of thing. And the only person I could think of that works just horribly with Murky, it doesn't benefit like almost at all, is Gazlowe. Gazlowe kind of relies on split pushing or relies on the combo of his AoE combo, and although your pufferfish could add to that if you were really organized, most of the time your Octo-Grab is just going to kind of be wasted, and you know, Gazlowe doesn't do enough burst damage without it. There's just too many things that you don't work well with. That's in my opinion, of course. Murky's also strong against people that do a lot of sustained damage. This build in particular, which I do believe is the strongest build, a lot of people call the bubble build, because you focus around your bubble having a low cooldown, giving you move speed, and healing you. It's actually phenomenal for staying in fights. If the enemy can't burst you down, then normally you'll stick around for a very long time. And you're really strong against people that do a lot of sustained damage, like auto attack Vala, Butcher, of the sorts. Gazlowe, you're kind of okay against him. Gazlowe's a weird bag because his turrets can kind of mess you up, especially in the early game. You're also weak against a couple people. Tychus, you're weak against him because his Q stays on you even if you're in the bubble, and he can stop from getting hit by your slime. His grenade can knock you around. It's not good. Nova and Zeratul, they can usually burst you really hard, and with Murky you're trying to stay alive and attrition people down. And it's just kind of... And they're also stealth, so it's hard to land your combo on them, though you have an easy way of knocking them out of stealth. But a lot of times Nova's just going to come over and hit you with her snipe, and that's going to be it. Then of course, the biggest counter to Murky, Cleanse. Supports with Cleanse just destroy your combo completely. The only other way you're going to completely destroy the Murky combo is immediately attacking the pufferfish, but it's not always easy to do, and it's not always easy to click on, with Murky kind of on top of it. Which is, again, why I think that the Octo-Grab is a little bit unfair, but besides that... Murky's a fairly versatile character. He's better played on a large map that's not very objective focused, even though this is a very objective focused game. What I mean is, maps like the Cursed Hollow are really good because the objective only comes up so often, and you push a lot. The Spider map is fairly good because you're fighting a lot, and the objective is pushing, and Murky's really good at it. He's also fairly good on maps where people split up a lot, like the Dragonshire, because he can normally catch people out. And if you build him for full burst damage, you can burst some people like Vala down from full health. I would say he's really bad. His worst map is probably the map I'm playing currently, which is the Temple map. This map is all about the objective, and though pushing can help, normally if you're losing the objective, you're losing more than you can push. And then if you're try to help with the objective, you're not really doing that much. It's just kind of a mess. The mines are also another example where the objective is really the focus of what you need to do, and Murky just doesn't do enough. He doesn't do enough on that map. Don't put him on the Haunted Mines. Blackheart Bay is not phenomenal because if you try to collect a bunch of coins, if you die, you drop them and you're really squishy. Basically, for Murky, he has all these tools at his advantage, but if you don't use them properly, then he's really not going to... You're not going to excel, you're not going to do well. You want to make sure that you're being aggressive, but you're not dying. Just because you have an ability to respawn doesn't mean you need to use it. When you have Living the Dream, it's more incentive to not die. You want to make sure that you're getting up in the squishiest person's face, and you want to make sure you're there as long as you can without dying. Use your Octo-Grab to set up your combo, use it to enable your team to come in, or if they have someone like a Lily that's keeping them alive, use it to completely stop her and take her out of the fight from healing. You don't have to kill someone with Octo-Grab for it to be really effective because of the stun. Yeah. In the early game, just focus on collecting XP, try for that level 10. Once you hit level 10, that's when you really want to get into team fights. That's where you can start being effective. And really adapt to the situation. If your team needs pushing, then try to push. If your team needs team fighting, try to team fight. Anyway, that's the basics of the little fish, anyway. He's also really adorable. I think that's important. Anyway, this build is the build I think is the best build at the time. Hero damage I didn't do so well, but my siege damage was phenomenal. And here's the build one more time. You get Bubble Breeze for the movement speed, Living the Dream for the extra damage, Compressed Air for the bigger area, Octo-Grab because it's ridiculously good. Bubble Machine reduces your bubble so you can heal more from Rejuvenating Bubble, and a Shark 2 adds a lot of damage. Alright, thanks for everything. Till next time.